The Houston Country Club, Houston, Texas, one of the Lone Star State's outstanding tests of golf, set deep in America's historic Great Southwest. A match over 18 holes between the former winner of both the British and U.S. Opens, the coveted Masters Championship, and the PGA, Ben Hogan, one of the finest strikers of the ball of all time, and 3 times Masters and PGA titleist, winner of over 100 tournaments, including the British Open, Sam Snead, the possessor of golf's most natural swing. To analyze today's match for us, the legendary Gene Sarazen, winner of every major title in golf. I'm George Rogers on the scene here in Houston, and this is Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, a series of international matches played on the world's most famous golf courses. This week, the Houston Country Club, Houston, Texas, USA. How far do we have to go to find the city of the future? Not far at all, in Houston, Texas. In fact, Houstonians will tell you that they not only have an eye on the future, they have a hand in it. And you can look anywhere and see that hand at work. In the great new highway system being built through, over, and under downtown Houston. A system so complex that it is called locally the Spaghetti Bowl. In the rapidly expanding port facilities, serving this oil, cotton, cattle, and chemical giant of the Southwest. Even the children of Houston are in tune with the future as they play among spaceships and rockets, within sight of NASA's Manned Space Center, where America's astronauts prepare for the Project Apollo moonshot. But perhaps Houston's closest approach to the future is here, in the world's first domed sports stadium. This geodesic structure, with its plastic dome that closes out bad weather, will be the home of Houston's National League baseball team and their entry in the American Professional Football League. And in some circles, there is future Olympic talk, as Houston's energetic sportsmen gaze into the city's newest and most exciting crystal ball. But all the excitement about Houston future does not mean there is anything inferior about Houston present. Houston citizens are justly proud of what they have. They're great educational institutions, such as the University of Houston, Texas Southern, and Rice University. Their world-famed Texas Medical Center, which provides health education, research, and patient care in 17 buildings on a single location. And Houstonians are proud of their city's reputation as the Athens of the Southwest, a reputation built in part upon its magnificent museums of art, and the liveliest and most progressive theatrical life west of New York. And Houston's musical tradition is rich and satisfying, too. Nor do the people of Houston have to wait for the domed stadium to participate in sports. Tennis and swimming are part of life here. And golf? Well, there are over 30 fine courses within Greater Houston. And here to tell us about the one we're playing today is Gene Sarazen.
You know, down here in Texas, folks pride themselves not only on the many outstanding golfers the state has produced, but on the large number of fine courses you'll find here. The new golf course of the Houston Country Club, which opened in 1957, is no exception. Some of the tees are over 100 yards long, so that the ladies playing off the front can keep up with the scratch players who tee off from the rear. The fairway bunkers are spread out to catch offline drives of all golfers, regardless of handicap. And believe me, this lagoon on the 9th gobbles up enough golf balls to keep business going in the pro shop. Once a week, though, they send a diver in to retrieve him. And as you might guess, it's an all-day proposition. The greens, well, they're big and rolling and easy to hit. But if you don't knock the ball close to the hole, you can three-putt enough of them to send you back to the locker room talking to yourself. All in all, you have to place your tee shots here and hit some well-judged approaches, or you're apt to wish you'd stayed in the grill room and enjoyed a few hands of cards with the boys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here on the first tee, as we're waiting for our match to get underway, we'd like to remind you that our players are competing today for a total of $5,000 in prize money. $3,000 to the winner, $2,000 to the loser, $2,500 each in the event of a tie. Our match has always 18 holes, medal, or stroke play under rules of the United States Golf Association, which permits the use of the larger American ball only. Acting as our official scorekeeper today is a whale of a golfer in her own right, a scratch player, Mrs. Mary Ann Rathmell. We're very happy to have her with us. And in equally competent hands, the duties of our referee, Mr. Ed Rotan, who's a low handicap player here at the club, former great football player at Yale, and his dad, George, was a Walker Cupper, as most of you know, I'm sure. The par for the Houston Country Club course is 72, and it's a long baby, 7,056 yards. The weather, well, we had a very, very heavy rain early this morning, but now that it's tapered off, it's going to be very hot, I think, with a high in the 80s. Now, Gene Sarrazin, bringing our players onto the tee. Ben Hogan, of course, in the white cap, and Mr. Sam Snead in the traditional coconut straw. Well, Ben, of course, you're a native Texan, as everybody knows, and you know better than anybody about the great golf courses they have in the Southwest. I was just wondering how this one stacks up with the rest of you.
Well, this is a beautiful golf course. It's well manicured. It's about 7,000 yards long, and I think we're going to have a wonderful time playing it.
I'm sure you will.
Sam's...
You're hitting that ball pretty well, huh?
Well, Gene, that remains to be seen.
Well, gentlemen, we're all set to get going. If you are, we'd like to wish you both the very, very best of luck and play well. Now, if you'll step over and join our referee,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Rotan,
Right.
we'll have the toss of the coin, and by golly, we'll be getting things underway. Mr. Rotan, just quickly mentioning a couple of the local rules that might apply here, in addition to the USGA rules, and we'll have that toss of the coin just any second. Now, there it goes. It is heads, and the toss of the coin won by Ben Hogan. He will drive first. The first hole here at Houston is a straightaway par 4, 443 yards. It's tree-lined on both sides, and a fairway bunker 245 yards out on the right could catch a push tee shot. The huge pear-shaped green offers an open approach, but it's guarded left and right by bunkers. Well, Gene, this ought to be some match.
George, you're seeing probably the greatest shot maker in the history of golf right here. I want you to watch the way that he handles those hands. Boy, he looks like a machine. When he plays a shot to the hole, you don't have to look anywhere but look towards the flag. Watch the way he takes that club back straight away from that ball.
And Ben has hit his opening tee shot just a little bit right to left, and I mean right down the heart of the fairway. Down there, never seen of those traps. He really busted a big one. Well, Gene, you were mentioning Ben Hogan. Here's a pretty fair country swinger himself, wouldn't you say?
Yes, here's a fellow that has a natural swing and the fellow that started the one-piece business. Watch the way he takes his hands back. They're one piece from the start right to the finish.
And Sam Snead has hit his a little bit to the left-hand side of the fairway over in there, and I believe he's going to have room to bend it around that tree on the left and put it right on the green. Well, Ben Hogan split the number one fairway with a beautiful little right-to-left tee shot. He is better than 250 or 55 yards. The pin is tucked in here on the left-hand side, and Hogan will go with a 6-iron. Big problem here to get the ball close to the hole on huge greens like this. Hogan started out well to the right. It is swinging in, and boy, he has hit it almost pin high, about 10, 12 feet from the hole. A beautiful shot. Well, here's the slammer. Pass to Hogan off the tee by about 5 yards on the left side of the fairway, and he's also hitting a 6-iron. He played it straight away at the flag. And he's going to wind up almost pin high on the left. Two fine approach shots here on number one. Ben Hogan hit a real good approach shot in here on this long first hole. He knocked it just about 11 feet from the pin. And Snead is 18 feet away on the opposite side of the hole with a putt that looks so it's got to break a little bit from left to right as Sam looks at it. I mentioned we'd had rain. The greens are going to be a little bit slower, at least in the beginning of the match. And it is quite humid. Pretty good looking stroke. And that ball did not come down at all, and it looked as though it would break considerably. So Sam knocked it a few feet past the hole. Whether he's going to mark it or try to knock it in, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I believe he's going to get out of the way. Good little putt to make on the first hole. I'll tell you, that's the kind of a putt that can age you. But he got himself a real good 4. Now, Hogan is coming from the opposite side of the pin, and it would look as though his putt's got to break a little bit from right to left. Sam, that one didn't come down a little for you, did it?
George, that looked like I'm going against the grain, and these things are pretty slow against the grain. And it just took off.
You had one of those little nerve-wrackers to make coming back.
Ooh, that was a rough one. I don't like those either.
Well, let's see what Ben does with this 11-footer.
See that? The grain kept that ball from breaking, and he was like I was. He was going a little bit with the grain, and he hit it too hard, too. I imagine, well, looks this is going to be a good putting contest.
Well, he's got about the same length putt coming back that Sam Snead had, and as we mentioned before, these are a little tough to make for pars. Hard enough to make for birdies. But make it he did, and we have a pair of par 4s here at the first hole at the Houston Country Club. Our match all even. Well, Gene, those were a couple of pretty good little putts to have to make 4 on the first hole.
Yeah, I was surprised there. You know, they've been practicing on the practice green, which hasn't been cut and was slow, and then they came out on these greens here where they're a little faster, and they were fooled. Boy, they hold 2 good putts for 4s there.
Indeed they did, but hold them they did, and our match is all even. Both players even par after 1 hole on Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. There was no change in the match on the second hole, a long par 4 dogleg to the left of 455 yards. Both matched the card to remain at even par as dark clouds began to gather in the skies. The rain had begun to fall as Hogan teed up on the third, a 520-yard par 5 dogleg to the right. He hit a beautifully controlled left-to-right fade, which finished 250 yards out, just short of the fairway bunkers on the right. The rain was really pelling down, and lightning streaked the sky as Snead prepared to drive. He aimed his tee shot straight for the hazards at the angle of the dogleg. Really unloaded on it, and carried the bunkers on the right, finishing 275 yards out. With the electrical storm reaching dangerous proportions, officials wisely suspended play, and the gallery returned to the safety and shelter of the clubhouse. Casual water lay deep in the fairway a few hours later when the rain had stopped and play was resumed. With gusty 25-mile-per-hour winds at his back, Hogan decided to go for the rain-soaked green with a 4-wood from a slight side hill lie. Aiming a bit to the right to compensate for his hooky stance, he leaned into the shots, got it up into the wind for maximum carry, and saw it finish dead in line on the green, 25 feet short of the pin. After his tremendous drive, Snead found that he'd nothing left but a 4-iron on this long par 5 hole. He eased up on it a bit, however, saw it hit just in front of the green, kick on, and roll to a finish 35 feet short and to the left of the cup. Sam had this left-to-right breaking putt for an eagle 3. He failed to be firm enough with it on the wet green and saw it swing off to the low side, a good 4 feet short. After Snead had marked his ball, the sharp-eyed Hogan, noticing water lying between the position of his ball and the pin, appealed for and received a ruling of casual water from the referee. This meant that Ben could place his ball at the nearest spot, not near the hole, which gave maximum relief. In this case, there were 2 such places equidistant from the ball, one to the left and one to the right. Carefully stepping off the distance from the pin, Ben placed his ball to the left so as to have the same line for his putt that Snead had just had to negotiate. He had, of course, closely studied the amount of break which Sam's ball took. And thus the stage was set to discover whether or not Hogan's strategy would result in an eagle 3. His effort was also short and to the right, and he subsequently tapped in for a birdie 4. Snead had this putt for his birdie to join Hogan at 1 under par. And after 3 holes, the match was all even. Gene, that was quite a remarkable forward shot that Hogan got home in 2 on this hole.
It sure was, George. I was right there to watch him, the way he was addressing that ball. He was standing a little behind the ball. He had an uphill lie, and I want to tell you, he hit one of the most beautiful shots I've seen in a long time.
In the absence of wind, do you think he could have reached in 2?
I doubt it.
He hit that shot full, didn't he?
Oh, and it was a driving shot.
Indeed it was. Well, we have now completed 3 holes. Both players birdied the 3rd hole to slip 1 under par. The match is still all even on Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. On the 4th hole of the Houston Country Club in Houston, Texas, Snead matched regulation figures, while Hogan 3-putted to return to even par and fall 1 stroke behind in the match.
The 5th hole, a 413-yard par 4, is one of the tightest tee shots on the course and also one of the prettiest holes you'll see anywhere. There are trees on either side, and a series of fairway bunkers on the left range from 240 to 270 yards off the tee. The approach is to a long, wide, well-bunkered green that falls away steeply behind to woods and dense rough. Well, for the first time in today's match here at the Houston Country Club, Sam Snead has the honor. He won it with a par 3 to Ben Hogan's bogey 4 on the 4th hole. What wind there is now, and it's died down a little bit, is blowing from right to left. Sam is aiming down the right-hand side. He started it. It has got a little bit of a right-to-left draw. He's going to be over near those bunkers. And whether or not he's in there or not, I do not know. He hit that a little bit too far to the left. And now here's Ben Hogan, who is one of the great concentrators in golf. And he's wearing a look of deep concentration and determination right now. He's 1 shot behind in the match at even par. Be interesting to see whether he starts this down the left and brings it to the right. That's the way he's lining up to fade the ball.
Oh, he faded it, and that has got to be as perfect a tee shot as you can ever hit, right in the middle of the fairway. What a honey.
Well, Sam Snead turned over on his tee shot here, pulled it into one of the fairway bunkers on the left, and he's about 165 yards from the green. We'll try to pick this ball clean and knock it home with a 6-iron. Feet well dug in.
Got it pretty nicely if it gets up. Ooh, and it did get up right on the left front corner of the green, and he just barely avoided that other bunker.
Well, on the 5th hole, Ben Hogan has hit undoubtedly his finest tee shot of the match. He started it below the trees, out of the wind. And he's out there better than 250 yards in the middle of the fairway with a 7-iron to hit. Completely open shot to the pin.
Starts away right now. It's coming in. Coming in, and look out.
Ben Hogan, who hit an absolutely sensational 7-iron approach in here to this 5th green, has marked his ball. He's about 5 feet from the hole. And Snead, who had to recover with his approach from a trap with a 6-iron, is 60 feet below the pin.
He hit it hard, but it's not going to get there. But that is a beautiful approach putt, I will tell you. About 3 feet from the hole from 60 feet.
Well, we'll see now. Ben has placed his ball, and I believe Sam is going to perhaps knock this one in. Sam is 1 under. And he has this putt for his par to remain 1 under.
Right-hand corner, but it fell in, and Snead turned around and grinned at the gallery. He is really happy to get it down in 2 from 61 feet. So now Ben Hogan has this 5-foot putt for a birdie 3 to even the match to go back to 1 under par. Hogan, a great student of the game, as you know, and a very careful, meticulous man who takes his time. How about that? That went all the way around that cup and went in the hole, and even Ben shook his head on that one. A birdie 3 to match all even, both 1 under par after 5 holes. Over the next few holes, both Hogan and Snead continued to demonstrate their mastery of the game of golf. The 6th, for example, is a relatively short par 4 of 354 yards. But some 225 yards off the tee, the fairway doglegs sharply to the right and then begins to descend to a very well-trapped elevated green. What is required here is a precisely controlled left-to-right tee shot. While the packed gallery looked on, Hogan opened his stance ever so slightly to encourage a fade. He fitted his drive to the fairway like hand to glove, and when Snead followed suit, both parred the hole with ease to remain 1 under par. The 7th presents a completely opposite problem. It, too, is a par 4, and at 314 yards is even shorter. This hole, however, doglegs in the opposite direction, to the left. Hogan was on in 2 and down in 2, while Snead tangled with the trees on the left and missed the green with his second. Sam was faced with a 7-iron chip shot of 140 feet. He hit a beauty, some 3.5 feet from the hole. Snead needed this putt, however, to stay even with Hogan at 1 under par. He was equal to the pressure, as he clearly demonstrated the value of a good short game to consistent scoring. On the par 5 8th, however, a 523-yard double dogleg to the left, both Hogan and Snead proved that they are only human after all. Each had a makeable birdie putt with Hogan away. Even body English didn't help, and Ben had to settle for a par 5 to remain 1 under. Snead's putt was slightly downhill. He pulled it considerably to the left, and, matching Hogan's par, continued the neck-and-neck battle, going to the 216-yard 9th hole.
Well, Ben Hogan continues with the honor here on the 9th tee. Snead has only had the honor once since the match began, and then only for a hole. This is just as beautiful a par 3 hole as you will see anywhere in the world. And the penalties for missing the screen can be severe, even though it is big. Hogan is going to hit a 2-iron, reminding you now, both players, 1 under par in the match, all even to this point. Hogan started it at the flag. It is moving a little bit to the left, but not much. And boy, I will tell you, he just did carry that on the front of that green. I don't think Ben caught that one quite the way he wanted to. Now here's a slammer. He was debating on the tee possibly the use of a 3-iron, but having seen Hogan just barely carry that water hazard, my guess would be that Sam will also hit a 2-iron. He started it way, way, way to the left, and is going to carry it on the green about pin high. It will roll all the way to the back, and he has left himself some putt. Well, on this huge 9th green, neither player was able to get the ball particularly close to the hole. Sam Snead is away. He's got a good 40-footer, a downhill putt with what appears to be a good swing from left to right as he looks at the ball. Starts away left, breaking down in.
That is exactly why this man is one of the greatest approach putters in golf. What a beautiful putt.
Well, you heard that gallery. When that ball was 6 feet from the hole, I think everybody thought that Snead had it.
So Sam will tap it in and finishes a very good front 9. I'll tell you, 1 under par. Very nice.
Ben Hogan is below the hole. He is about 25 feet from the cup, and I bet his heart skipped a beat when Snead's ball just slipped by. Hogan would really love to hold this one. They're all square. Starts it up toward the hole, but that putt is not going to get there. He was coming uphill against the grain, and Ben left that putt to maybe 2 or 2.5 feet short. And he has that putt to hold the match all even.
Got her down. So they finished that front 9 all square. Gino just Wondering what you thought of that front nine. We saw some pretty fair golf.
Well, I was talking to Ben. That's as fine a 9 holes he's ever played, covering that flag from tee to green. You know that his ball hasn't varied 10 feet from the tee shot to the flag. How about that, Ben?
What's that?
That 9 holes, that's a perfect 9, but your putter could have improved.
Well, that's about as good as I can play, but what I'm doing on the greens is, good night.
Well,
That's
Ben,
awful.
If you keep on hitting every green, something's going to happen with that putter, too, I'm sure. Sam, how'd the ball stay out over there?
Well, you saw it. I thought it missed a hole on the top side, and, of course, that green caught it right at the last moment, and it really gave it a fast move to the right.
Sam George said that you're the greatest approach putter he's ever seen. I quite agree with him.
Well,
Approach putter.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, well, I tell you, I'd better do something fairly well before long. I tell you.
Well, you both had a wonderful 9 holes, and at the turn here at the Houston Country Club in Houston, Texas, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Snead, all even, both 1 under par on Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. On the 10th hole, a long par 4 of 430 yards, both Hogan and Snead drove safely in the fairway. Hogan, 255 yards off the tee, had a full 4-iron left of the slightly elevated green. As he had done on shot after shot, Ben rifled this one straight at the flag. It bounced, missed the pin by an inch, and pulled up 27 feet past the hole. Snead, who had driven 265 yards, lined up a 6-iron. He hit one of his finest irons to this point in the match, which covered the flag all the way and pulled up 15 feet short. Ben read a huge left-to-right break in his 27-footer from the back of the green. He judged it almost perfectly, but had to settle for a par 4 to remain 1 under. Sam's putt, coming from the opposite direction, would swing from right to left. The ball seemed to go in the hole and come right out again. So Snead also was forced to tap in for his 4 to stay at 1 under par and even in his match with Hogan after 10 holes. The match remained all even on the 11th, a par 4 of 403 yards, which doglegged slightly to the right. 2 pars here continued both Hogan and Snead at 1 under regulation figures. At 573 yards, the 12th hole is a back-breaking par 5. A huge oak tree 250 yards out doglegs the hole to the right. 2 bunkers on the opposite side of the fairway give you a minimum amount of room in the tee shot landing area. The green can be reached in 2 under favorable conditions of wind and weather, but it would require 2 tremendous hits. The narrow kidney-shaped green is one of the best bunkered on the course, particularly at its entrance. Well, the match continues to unfold, and the tension continues to build. This is a real dogfight. Neither player giving an inch, and I don't think they have ever been more serious about a match in their lives than they are about this one. It's a beautiful par 5 hole today. Nobody's going to reach this green in 2, I don't believe. No wind at all now, dead calm, and Ben Hogan with the honor. And Hogan has aimed down the safe left side of the fairway and has hit it over there where he'll have a good open shot for his second. Here's Sam Snead, and as Sam tees the ball up, the wind begins to freshen a little bit from behind. Sam had a good wind here, by golly. He could come awful close to reaching this green. He hit it down the right side. That's the best tee shot he's hit today. Oh, what a lovely tee shot. That's out there a country mile right in the middle. Ben Hogan's tee shot slightly on the left side of the fairway here, the safe side. He's going to take a 4-wood and just lay the ball up the fairway. There's not a chance in the world he could get too close to this green. It'd be interesting to see whether he tries to keep it up on top of the hill or put it down in the swale. It's just a little following breeze now. And it is going to carry to the top of the hill and just a few yards too far to make him happy. He's going to have a hanging lie there. Sam Snead is in the middle of the fairway, 275 yards off the tee. He outdrove Hogan by about 25 yards. And where Hogan laid up with a 4-wood, Snead has taken a 3-wood from the bag. And I imagine he's going to really bust this and try to get it up close to that green.
It's a low shot. He's going to carry well down into the swale. And he knocked it up there, I'll tell you, within about 20 yards of that front trap. And those are two tremendous shots back to back. Well, the following wind here has Ben Hogan in a bit of difficulty. He tried to keep his forward second on this par 5 hole up on top where it's level and flat, but he just trickled over, has a nice hanging lie there. An acre of sand in front of the green to carry, and the pin is way to the front of the green, so he'll have to try to cut this ball up with a pitching wedge and not get it too far past the hole. He's had a lot of downhill putts coming from the back of the green to the front all day long. And this has got to be the hardest shot he has had to play here today.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he has won all those titles.
Well, the situation has changed quite rapidly here. A few moments ago, it looked like Snead had a great birdie opportunity, and Hogan was in a bit of difficulty. And Snead has a little wedge. He's got to flip up over those bunkers. He can hit it past the hole, a little strong, but also a very fine shot. Something could be in the making right here on the 12th green of the Houston Country Club. Ben Hogan, who hit his approach to the left of the pin, is about 18 feet away. Sam Snead is, I would say, no more than 14 or 15 feet past the hole. Remember now, they're both one under, all square. And each has certainly a makeable birdie putt here.
Well, that one rang the bell. He's been zeroing in on that cup, and he hold that for a 4 at the 12th hole to move 2 under par.
And now Sam Snead's putt looks a good deal more difficult. It would look as though if he hit it just about at the right lip, that would be the line. Well, sir, that rolled off, and Snead says, I can't believe that. So Sam Snead will tap in for his par 5 here at the 12th. Ben Hogan with a birdie 4 moves 2 under par and 1 shot ahead in the match.
Well, Ben, you played 12 holes, you've hit every green, and you've had a putt for eagles and birdies, and you finally hold a putt.
That was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I must have hit it on the right jerk, Gene.
No. But when you were playing that shot downhill there, that was the tough shot to me, because you had soft ground and you had to stand a little ahead of your ball. Tell us how you played that shot.
Well, another thing, had a little wind off the right, and just before I got to started to shoot, I could feel the air in the trees and the leaves rustling, and I knew I had to hit it a little harder. So I hit it just a little harder, but unfortunately I drew it a little bit, but I got away with the putt, Gene.
Well, it was a beautiful birdie, and good luck to you.
Well, thank you. I'll need it.
The 13th hole at the Houston Country Club is a man-sized par 4 of 450 yards. The fairway is very narrow for a hole of this length. The long second shot is no less demanding, with the hole doglegging gently to the right as it approaches the green. There's a lateral water hazard tucked close to the left front edge of the putting surface and a solitary bunker on the same side. Hogan was home safely in 2 with a drive and a 4-wood. Snead pulled his 2-iron second and missed the putting surface. Well, if you count the 11th hole where he put it in the fringe, this is the 4th green that Snead has missed. He's 95 feet from the hole. Flips his pitching wedge, carries it barely onto the green, and he's going to put it down there short, but he will have at least a chance to save a 4. Well, Sam Snead has now hit 3 shots here at the 13th hole and is still away by about a foot. Hogan has marked his ball. Snead is about 13 feet from the hole, and this is the most important putt he's had to hole today.
And hole it he did to remain 1 under par. That is the stuff that makes a champion golfer.
Well, the situation here was quite obvious, of course. If Snead had bogeyed this hole and Ben Hogan were then to knock this putt in, Ben would move 3 shots ahead. And he's an awful tough man to give away 3 shots to. But Snead got the pressure putt. Hogan, if he can get this one down from 12 feet, can go 3 under and lead by 2.
Now pull it.
Well, I think everybody in the gallery realized as Ben stroked that ball that he had yanked it to the left of the hole and pulled it. And he still has a putt a little better than a foot to save his 4. So no change in the match. Hogan 2 under, Snead 1 under after 13 holes. The 14th hole is a terrifying 230-yard par 3, which plays between a narrow gap of trees and over a deep-wooded chasm. Hogan's choice of clubs was a 4-wood. He caught it right on the nose, knocked it safely between the trees, and put it on the left front portion of the green. Snead decided on a 1-iron, a dangerous straight-faced club that not even many pros include in the 14 clubs they're allowed to carry. Sam, one of the few acknowledged masters of this shot, had the misfortune of pulling the ball. He did succeed in putting it on the green, but left himself a putt of 60 feet as compared to Ben's 40-footer. Snead now is faced with the problem of getting down in 2. He didn't begin to hit the ball hard enough and stopped a disappointing 8 feet short. When Sam had marked, it was Ben's turn to try. He failed to get it up by 5 feet, and a disgusted Ben Hogan crossed his feet and glared at the green while Snead proceeded to replace his ball. When Hogan had in turn marked, Sam tried to nail down his 3. It was his first 3-putt green of the match and returned him to even par figures. Hogan needed this one to remain 2 under. And he opened up a 2-stroke lead, the largest either player had enjoyed during the match. On the 15th hole, a 390-yard par 4 dogleg to the right, both Snead and Hogan hit the green in the regulation 2 strokes, but Sam was considerably away. Well, Ben Hogan marks his ball as the pressure continues to mount on Sam Snead. Here on the 15th green, he's got a 35-footer downhill. Hogan is 11 feet from the hole below the pin with an easier uphill putt. Look out. Well, Sam had himself a little smile there. He didn't change expression for a moment and then just kind of smiled a little bit and shook his head. That was a beautiful putt, and how it didn't go in the hole, I'll never tell you. But he will tap in to remain even par after 15 holes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a putt that may mean more to Ben Hogan than any putt he has addressed thus far in the match. If he can get this 11-footer down, he is going to slip to 3 under par. And with 3 holes remaining, would have a 3-shot lead, which is an awful lot to give a player of Hogan's steadiness from tee to green. Could be. That one was right in the cash box. Hogan is 3 under and leads by 3 shots after 15 holes. Gene, Ben has got the putter zeroed in, apparently.
Yes, he has. You know, a man that hits the ball like he does, he's got to get a percentage of them down the hole.
In other words, he's so close to the hole so often he's got to make a few putts.
Oh, yes, he's putting for birdie on every hole.
Well, he's making them right in the right spot. Now, with 3 holes to go, Hogan is 3 under and leading by 3 strokes here at the Houston Country Club in Houston, Texas. On the 16th hole at the Houston Country Club in Houston, Texas, a 183-yard par 3, Snead and Hogan matched regulation figures, with Hogan at 3 under, maintaining his 3-stroke lead. On the 17th, a back-breaking straightaway par 5 of 573 yards, Ben continued the fine driving which had typified his round. His tee shot, 260 yards, dead center fairway. Both time and holes were running out for Snead, and he knew it. Swinging so hard he lost his normally perfect balance, Sam smashed his drive 5 yards past Hogan's ball. With the green out of reach, Hogan uncorked a tremendous 3-wood. The ball caught the downslope of the fairway and rolled to a stop a scant 50 yards short of the green. Despite the fact that he had a tight lie, Snead decided to go for broke and hit his driver from the fairway in a desperate attempt to get close to the green. He barely got the ball airborne. Its low, hooking flight carried it down into the bottom of a deep swale from where it rolled up to the top of the knoll Hogan had carried on the fly moments before. So Snead, his gamble backfiring, now found himself 115 yards short of the green with his opponent in perfect position. Sam prepared to hit a soft 9-iron. His beautifully judged approach almost pitched in the hole for a 3 and finished 8 feet past. Ben lined up a wedge, his famous equalizer. The ball carried pin high on the left and finished well past the hole.
Sam Snead is marking his ball, which is directly in Ben Hogan's line, and for that matter, the coin with which he was marking it would be in the line, so Hogan has requested that he move 2 clubhead lengths to the right. He has complied with that request. Hogan flew his wedge a little bit here and hit it about 24, 25 feet above the pin. We'll have a downhill putt for a birdie 4. And if he could get this down, of course, he would slip to 4 under. Breaking in toward the hole, but you would not believe the amount of break on that putt, I'll tell you. He started it way right of the hole and it swung way left of the hole. Played it very commercial. Didn't gun the ball for the cup, just got it down there and laid it dead. And Ben will remain 3 under par after 17 holes. Now Snead has very carefully replaced his ball. He also has above the hole, and he got a good chance to go to school on Hogan's putt. In other words, you can bet your bottom dollar that he noticed the amount of break from right to left. And that will make it a little bit easier for him to play his shot. He's just about 8 feet away. And he would love this one to go 1 under.
And he got it. Hogan 3 under, Snead 1 under, going to the 18th tee. Well, Gene, we go to the last tee with Hogan leading by 2. Is the match over or no?
A golf match is never over until the putters hold out on the last hole, and that Snead is still after Hogan.
Well, I'm very anxious to watch the 18th, and I'm sure everybody is. As we go to the 18th tee, Hogan 3 under and Snead 1 under here at the Houston Country Club in Houston, Texas.
The 18th is a straightaway par 4 of 403 yards with fairway bunkers ranging from 250 to 275 yards out on the right. The short iron approach is played to an extremely large green, which demands a well-executed approach if the player is to have a crack at a birdie 3. Well, this is the home hole, the last mile. And Sam Snead is 2 shots down. And I don't think he'll hold anything back on this hole either. He'll try to knock it out there as far as he can knock it and set up a birdie opportunity. And here we go.
He hit a whistler, a real whistler down the safe left-hand side of the fairway. And he has hit big tee shot after big tee shot. That hit him kicked right back into the middle.
Now Ben Hogan with a 2-stroke lead, who can afford to play the hole, of course, conservatively. It is up to Snead to catch him. He is the man in the lead.
And Ben has busted another fine tee shot, which is going to miss that bunker on the right-hand side of the fairway. And both of those tee shots are going to be, I believe, just perfectly in play. Well, there's a pretty good crowd around this 18th green, ladies and gentlemen. A tremendous gallery. Both players drove about 265 off the 18th tee. Snead just slightly away is going to hit a little light 6-iron. And he has hit a pretty good-looking shot that just didn't come in. It swung out to the right. It looked as though it started to come in, but it didn't. Pushed a bit, almost pin high to the right as Sam looks at the hole. Well, Ben Hogan watched Sam Snead hit that ball almost exactly pin high with a 6-iron. And he also is going to hit a 6. Also started out to the right, begins to swing in, and another fine shot by Ben Hogan. Well, you hear it. There's a tremendous ovation for these two fine players on 18.
Sam Snead is on the home green, 40 feet from the hole. 1 under par.
He had a good-looking stroke, but it just stayed to the right. And I think everybody in this gallery was just hoping that he could get that one in the hole. Up at about 3 feet to the right and a little bit short.
So Snead will need that putt to remain 1 under par. And after he marked his ball, he said, I think I'll knock it in, Ben. He needs his putt for a 71.
Well, that's a shame. And Sam will 3-putt the 18th green for an even par round of 72.
And now Ben Hogan, who is 3 under par, has a putt of approximately 22 feet.
Just didn't get there by a whisker, so Ben will have that tap in, and he will finish 3 under par. 69, the winner by 3 shots.
Sam, you ran into Superman today, huh?
Well, that's about as well as I think I've ever seen Ben play. Really played wonderful, didn't miss a green, and he hit every shot right on the button. That was really great.
Ben, I want to congratulate you. That's the finest round of golf I've seen in my lifetime.
Well, thank you, Gene. Very nice of you.
And I want to congratulate you again.
Thank you. And Sam,
Ben?
again, I enjoyed playing with you. I always do, and I'm just sorry that your ball didn't get a little closer to the hole today. We'd have had a better match.
On behalf of Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, I want to thank you both for such a wonderful show.
Well, thank you, Gene.
Thank you, Gene. It's nice to have been with you. And Shell.
Thank you.
Good.
George Rogers?
Gene, I think together with everybody else in this huge throng that joined us here at the Houston Country Club today, we just got a tremendous bang out of this game of golf. Ben Hogan probably playing mechanically from tee to green as well as a human being can play, and Sam Snead holding some remarkable putts to stay in it right down to late in the match, but just not hitting the ball close to the hole often enough to have a chance at holding Ben in. Marianne, our sincere thanks to you for acting as our scorekeeper.
Thank you.
And once again, please, how do they finish officially?
Mr. Hogan, 69. Mr. Snead, 72.
Just pretty fair golf around
Perfect.
here, I would say. Mr. Ed Rotan, for acting as our referee, our sincere appreciation to you, sir.
Thank you very much. It was a privilege.
Well, next time we get to Houston, you won't mind if we look you up again, will you?
Hope you will.
I know. Come back again.
Just as soon as we can. And now let's join Gene for a tip on technique.
You know, whenever golfers get together, there's always lots of arguments about what the most important thing in the golf swing is. We thought we'd put this question to one of the greatest players in the game. Ben?
Well, the most important thing in the golf swing to me is the movement of the lower body from the top of the swing. And if you don't mind, I'll demonstrate. First off, you start down below with your knees and your hips. At the top of the swing, you move the lower part of your body, not your shoulders, the lower part of your body, letting your arms and hands follow. bringing you into position to hit. But this is the first movement, there. Then you release at the bottom. Most people do it entirely opposite. They rotate their shoulders first instead of their lower body. As a result, they come across the ball and hit the outside of the ball instead of the back of it. If you don't mind, I'll hit a ball, and the first thing to watch is what starts first from the top of the swing.
To show that there's more than one way to arrive at the same objective, here's a slightly different approach from Sam.
Well, Gene, I think after you complete the top of the backswing, it's the starting of the downswing that means the difference between a good shot and a bad shot. As you know, you'll see a lot of the so-called dubs. They'll get to the top of the backswing. We call that playing the flute when the fingers come apart. And now when he grabs on the downswing, he'll make a cast from the top, which causes the club to come from the outside in, which you may have a banana ball or maybe a ducking hook or something. But I emphasize holding on with the left hand, the last two fingers, never turning loose throughout the swing. So you start to pull down with the left hand on the downswing while it pulls the weight into the left side, and you have a nice firm body and you have a nice firm shot. I'll try to demonstrate to you.